Hello, Gun Nation. All right, everyone. We decided to get this kicked off like 35 seconds early, but we'll give it a couple of minutes. And we've got Mr. KS Gun Guy. Hopefully, y'all remember him. How are you doing this evening, sir?
Hanging in there, man. How are you?
I am living the dream as long as nobody wakes me up. But yeah, and we've got a I want to let KS talk and all that stuff. So we will surpass the roll call this evening. But I appreciate everybody being on. So it means a lot. And I hope you'll all have a drink, do some drinking and do some talking and have a good time this evening. Catch up with KS. I was going to do the chat and I reached out to him and he was unbusy this evening. So it worked out pretty well. And yep, we've got the legend, the myth, the man, KS Gun Guy.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Good to be back on.
Yeah. So what have you been up to, man? Everybody's been asking, but what have you been up to?
Dennis says I repainted the house. No, I'm in a different room. So believe it or not, I'm actually in the review room. But the review table no longer has mics and lights and all that sort of thing around it anymore, which is actually pretty delightful. So it's just a gun table again. But so different room, different color wall. It looks very yellow in here, but it's actually not. It's beige. Just the lights are hitting it all weird. But anyway, just busy, man. My schedule is complicated, and so I go from one place to another and all that kind of thing, and just stay very, very busy.
Yeah. Well, good. I mean, I'm glad you could come on this evening. I'm sure everybody, I miss you, but we talk occasionally, but I miss you being on the, coming on and talking and telling us your information. And I know everybody else does, and I figured they would enjoy it too. But yes, and I've actually been in that room. I know exactly where it is. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and on the posting, that is actually Tequila Sunrise Orange for that SIG in that picture. I guess I can't remember who was asking. Kathleen, I think she said it was yellow, but no, it's not yellow. It's actually Tequila Sunrise Orange. But and today I did a bunch of shooting, and it wasn't pistol shooting, so we'll just leave it at that. But I blew a bunch of ammo. So
you shot a bunch of ammo.
I shot a bunch of ammo. Yeah, I didn't blow it, but I actually blew it up, I guess you could say, because it is a mild explosion. But yeah, I shot a bunch today. So that's always fun. But good thing, like you and I mean, we all prepared, or, gun people prepared and have the ammo. So we're not out running around like crazy people trying to find it. Because, I am seeing it come back. It's not prices, that we really want to see a lot of. But how is it, if you want to get into it, how is it in your area, or is it seem to be coming back?
It's pretty early to tell too much, but there's a little bit more on the shelf periodically. I'm still not seeing any of the, I guess, more unusual ammo calibers, whatever, like 25 ACP and that sort of thing. I don't see any of that, but 9mm, 223, 556, 300 blackout, 45, 38 special, things like that. I'm seeing that stuff on the shelf a little bit more, which is great.
Yeah, and I think, like, what you were saying, the little boutique rounds that aren't super popular, like 25, 32, stuff like that, there's not a huge demand for that. So one, it's either going to be sky high priced if they have it, and it's just not popular. So I think they're trying to hopefully knock out all the popular calibers right now. That's what I want. I'm sure that's what everybody else wants, but it's always good. Now, did have a question already. If you want to get into it, Keith Gregory's asking, buy any new guns, KS? So
yeah. By the way, good to see everybody. People are saying hi. Appreciate that, man. And Keith, good to talk to you. Yeah, the collection has changed dramatically. Certainly over the last year and a half. Since obviously I'm not really doing video stuff anymore. I have the luxury of just kind of getting what I want and doing what I want for the sake of fun and that sort of thing. And I'm kind of going backwards in time a little bit. So the collection, I mean, I've got guns going all the way back to the 20s, nothing before that. And I'm talking the 1920s, not 2020s, but Yeah. So Smith and Wesson, I've been concentrating a lot on. I've put a few Instagram posts out there with what have I done? I think 3913. It's actually a Lady Smith, but it's beautiful. It was in just pristine condition. It's a gorgeous gun. But 915, 908, the 3913, a Chief Special, and just picked up a Model 39. Which is a lot of fun. And then it was super old 38 Smith & Wesson, not special, but Smith & Wesson revolver, Series 2 revolver. I mean, super old, which is kind of fun. I'll probably never shoot it. I picked it up for like $200. So kind of a little display, little fun little display thing, which would be good. But then the Beretta collection continues to expand. Kind of going back in time with those quite a bit. I mean, I think the oldest one I've got there is a 1934 model, 1934. But that's been a lot of fun. But did pick up a PX4 Storm, Langdon Tactical, unbelievable gun. If you're at all into PX4 Storms, spend the money, get a Langdon Tactical. It's worth every penny and more. So yeah, so I keep telling myself I need to stop buying guns, and I've yet to do it.
Yeah, well, that's what we do. But yeah, that's awesome. And that is a good thing. And I mean, I've always done this. I buy guns for what I want. I don't buy them for video purposes, but that's cool to see that you're getting guns and getting stuff into your collection that you really want. That's what it's all about. I mean, and if you can't get what you want, buy what you like, and then you can customize it the way you want to. So, but yeah, that's awesome, man. And yes, LT, Langdon makes some sweet guns. I know I've shot yours, not the PX4, but I mean, I've shot your old PX4, but it wasn't an LTT. And then I shot your 92 and your Wilson Combat 92 and your 92X and all that. So that's cool to go back. I just wish they made the damn grips longer, but that's just me. Nobody else would have that problem.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's awesome. Oh yeah, he has it. Kathleen, he has it.
I had. Okay. It's a better way to put it. I did have a 92X, and it was a nice gun. The performance version. That thing's like 48 ounces or something like that. I mean, it's just a tank. But I ended up walking away from that one.
Mm-hmm. And then just out of curiosity, because I've had people ask me about that gun, was there a reason, or you were just like, what was kind of not clicking with you on that one?
It was a nice gun. It was a fine gun, but it didn't speak collection to me. I guess the sort of thing I'm really trying to get it to a place where these are things that will be here for the rest of my life anyway. So that's kind of the goal. Obviously that's ever changing, but the performance was very nice, but it didn't perform as well as some of the Shadow 2 and things like that, at least in my opinion. So it's kind of like, I've got this big, huge gun that's fine, but it's not great. I mean, I've got a Langdon Tactical Compact 92 and with the trigger job and all that. And to me, that's a better 92.
Yeah. Okay. Now I need you to repeat something. The 92X is not as good as the Shadow 2?
No, it's not. I don't think so.
I just wanted, everybody tells me, oh my God, the 92X blows the Shadow 2 out of the water. And I know it's people, they like what they like. I'm not discrediting anyone, but of course I know we both kind of trick out our guns. And if you buy the SAO, it's already tricked out, but it's just the ergonomics, the grip length, and everything about the Shadow 2. I mean, there's not a lot out there that you can just go and buy that would replace, a double action, single action would replace the Shadow 2 for me. I mean, I don't know about you, but
yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, I picked up a TS2 and I like it quite a bit. It's a fun gun to shoot. I still go back to the Shadow 2. I mean, I guess pound for pound, dollar for dollar. Now, I prefer the SAO version. That's kind of my main Shadow 2, but I just think it's a wonderful gun. I just really do.
Okay, since you've messed with both of them, and I haven't shot the TSO2 but I've played with it. Between the TSO and the new TSO2 or whatever you want to call it, which one do you prefer?
probably the TSO.
Yeah. And see, that's what, when I played around with both of them, and of course I haven't shot it, but when I played around with both of them, I preferred the TSO or the old TSO 2. Now, I don't like how they didn't blend the mag well, and I know they kind of fixed that. It's got a little more Shadow 2 ergonomics, but
it does.
It's just, when I want a Shadow 2, I go for the Shadow 2. When I want a TSO, I go for the TSO. And just like you said, and I've said this many, many times, between the TSO and the Shadow 2 all day long. And I love the TSO. You can't take anything away from it, but I think the Shadow 2 is more of a do everything gun if you had to, in that, use it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, Richard Jenkins was saying, why SA? So I've done all three triggers, the standard, the orange, and the SA or SAO. And I think the SAO is the best of the three. It's the lightest trigger, shortest reset. There's no double action. There's no, double strike capabilities, but to me, that's a range gun, competition gun. I could care less about double strike. So I want the very best trigger out of the Shadow 2 that I can get. And I think that's the way to go.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree with that. If you're going, and even and you would probably agree with this in 1911, 2011, I mean, you can't beat a single action trigger. I mean, you can try all day long, but single action triggers are incredible. I mean, a good single action trigger. I've shot some shitty single action triggers, but, and then you had a question. Where did it go? Oh, here it is right here. Eric is asking, do you still have a Glock 26?
Just answered him. Yes, I do. Okay. That as well as a Banshee 300 series. Those are in a go bag. The Banshee's suppressed. It's all Glock magazines, and I think that's a great pairing for if I had to grab a bag and run out the door. That's what I'd go for.
Yeah, and I've even said the same thing because, I mean, hell, you can find Glock magazines on every street corner if you had to. Or you could just take them from the bad guy because he's probably shooting a Glock too. Or, well, maybe he might be shooting a high point, but you know what I mean. So, hello, everyone. And we're not going through the roll call, but I appreciate everyone on here. We're just trying to get in. If you got any questions for him or me, please ask. Let's see. Kathleen is asking, Shadow 2 geared for competition, SPO1 TAC for, yeah, I mean, like I said, it's, they're both fantastic guns. Whatever you like, get. Now, I wanted to ask this, and I want to ask this to all the chat members too, or the family members. Now that you've kind of made the full circle and you're buying, what you like, not just maybe picking up something for a review here and there. Like when something new comes out, just say, because I've been asked this 1,000 times, you might have been also, but the GX4, like the Taurus GX4, or whatever the new Polymer Wonder is, does any of that excite you now? I know it might be for like a review, but now that you're kind of not doing that right now, does it really excite you as a gun or something new out to the marketplace?
I always like to see new guns, and being at Centerfire as much as I am, I get to handle a lot of the new guns and a lot of the weird guns that come through there. But then the GX4 is fine, but no, it doesn't excite me. I mean, I don't sit there and go, oh man, I have to have that. It's not really.
Yeah, because I get that asked all the time. I guess just because I do reviews, some people, not the family members here, but some people are like, hey, why don't you have the GX4? Or why aren't you reviewing that? And I'm like, I'm not that guy. I don't just buy stuff to review it. But there's just some things that, and I've said this numerous times, in my collection, or what I want is what I get, what I like, what I want to shoot, or what I want to customize to shoot, or whatever. I don't just buy stuff to buy it, for a review. And a lot of that stuff is just really not shaking my tail feathers. I mean, there's just not, it's kind of like, okay, if you buy a GX4, yeah, it might be a little more ergonomic than a SIG P365 or whatever, but I'm not one of those little small subcompact guys personally. But, it's like, is it going to outshoot, a Hellcat, or is it going to outshoot a whatever? When it comes down to it, if it has mechanical accuracy, the rest of it is up to the shooter. So trying to go and buy, buy a gun saying you're going to shoot it better, I think that's kind of the false prophet, mindset. And I just think that, if you train and if you shoot a particular gun a lot, you're going to get better with that particular gun. And I don't think buying a new polymer gun is going to, really be earth shattering.
Yeah, without question. Train with what you've got. And if it's just for enjoyment, do whatever you want. But yeah. Most of the things that I see coming out on the market are very similar to the old stuff. I mean, Paul H was talking about the LCP, and he might not have been the first person to mention it, but that LCP Max or whatever it is, it's cool. I've seen it. I like the idea of it at just a tiny, good capacity 380. So it's still fit in your pocket. I mean, that's fantastic. Is it cutting edge or anything? Probably not, but I think it fits a good niche, and that's great. If that's something you can use, then that's a good tool.
Yeah, and I think like I've said before, I've actually came out and said this, but it's been a long time. We've all kind of, well, the older gun guys or older gun people, older gun ladies, we've kind of, we've been through this. It's like you're putting lipstick on a pig. Unless you're getting something really cool or the way you want to make it, all the rest of it is just kind of the same old stuff with just maybe a little different ergonomics, maybe different sights, maybe whatever. So if you were to take what you have and maybe customize it to make it the way you want it, or put the different sights on it or whatever, you might even enjoy the gun you actually own better than the one you're searching for.
Right.
I mean,
true.
It's like, gosh, and I'm kind of like you, I really enjoy a lot of the older, I've got revolvers, but I really enjoy some of the older semi-automatics, going back and kind of, playing around with those and stuff like that every once in a while, because it's like, I grew up on those and then don't have them, or, have a few of them. And it's like, damn, I haven't shot that gun in 10 years, hey, I ought to go shoot it again. And then, we were just talking about it earlier, my 439, and it's from 1986. And it does have a heavy double action trigger. I think it's like 8 pounds, but the single action is freaking like 3 pounds. I mean, it's incredible, single action trigger. So don't underestimate some of the older guns, if you like it and it shoots well for you, hey, roll with it.
Mm-hmm. Is it Baldy? Just still.
I know he's pushing a turd uphill. No, I'm just joking. I've actually shot his Excalibur, and it is a super nice gun, but it's just not, they're not everywhere like a lot of the other guns are. But no, it is a very nice gun. I actually really liked it. But it just never has a mainstay here. It's kind of like the Strybog. Everybody had to have the Strybog, and then of course they had the mag issues and stuff, and they kind of fell on their face. And now I don't even hear hardly anybody talking about a Strybog. Once in a blue moon I do, but I mean, my gun store won't even order them anymore. I don't know about y'all.
Now we see them come in from with transfers from time to time, but the big name right now is B&T. That is what everyone talks about, and they're awesome. They're nice guns.
Say B&T, man, they make a lot of military weapons. I mean, their shit's pretty legit. Matter of fact, there is one at TGE, and it's a little miniature B&T. It's got their little specialized red dot and all this crap on it, and it's like $6,000, but it comes with a backpack and all this other shit and extra mags. But I'm just like, God dang! But they're nice for what they whatever task you want them to do, they'll pretty much do it. But
yeah,
and I'm with you, like on the PCCs, and I talked about that, last time, like buying a Scorpion or buying an AR patterned or a Glock patterned AR9. That, I mean, it just makes a lot of sense because you got the mag compatibility. If something were to go down or whatever, or if your mags failed, you would, be able to get mags quickly. Not everybody has CZ Scorpion mags laying around like they would a Glock. So that's a very smart thing to stay with the Glock pattern mags.
Right. Wheeled and well armed. He was saying the DA trigger and the ASAI-1 Pro. What's that? Am I lost?
I think it's an older CZ clone, I believe, but I'm not sure. He would have to elaborate. I think he might have a video on it, but
okay.
Yeah, and you know how it is. I mean, in the YouTube world, it's super hard for me to catch up on all these damn videos. I'm subscribed to so many people, and I try to keep up with them, but I can't keep up with all of them. But yeah, I mean, there's some, basically there's a lot of guns out there that are really kind of underestimated or whatever, because not a lot, they don't have the big brand name or tag behind them, but like IWI. I mean, a lot of people underestimate IWI, but they make some fantastic weapons.
Yeah, they do.
So, have you gotten into any AK-47s or anything like that?
AKs they've never interested me, not 1%. That's never been a thing. Never owned one. I don't plan to. No. I've got a couple of ARs. I've got a few PDWs, including a B&T. I had to get one because everybody else had one. I had to be cool like all the other kids.
Yeah.
But no, that's not a thing. I'm having more fun with revolvers and old guns and all that sort of thing.
And that's really funny, because when you were listing those revolvers, I was like, what? Because you and I went, we talked about that in the past, about revolvers, and you were just like, I'm not really a revolver guy. That's just funny. Just it just kind of goes. You make that circle. I mean, a revolver that I would love to have, I've said this many times, and I'd carry it as my barbecue gun, and I would shoot it, would be a Colt. But I wouldn't want just the standard Colt. I'd want the big badass, rail job, 44 Magnum or something. I'd want something crazy. But I mean, they definitely are some sweet pistols, and I really like a single action revolver. I mean, they're really cool, but pulling a 10-pound hammer or double action is not super fun all the time. And granted, you can pop it, you can take it back, but they are cool. But sometimes I just am like, eh.
Yeah. Ball, no cap and balls at this point in time, but no, there was part of the deal with not doing videos anymore. I got to kind of explore things that I either wasn't as interested in or didn't know as much about, and only had a finite amount of money that typically all went to the channel. And that's not the case anymore. I can do what I want with it. So I like the revolvers. I mean, I picked up a Chiappa Rhino not too long ago, and it is freaking awesome. It's the ugliest thing. I've got a buddy at Centerfire that gives me trouble all the time. I think it's because he's jealous and he really wants one. He won't admit it, but I think he's jealous. Yeah. I'm hoping he's watching this, but anyway, but stuff like that is just a lot more fun. I picked up a 586 L comp. I think I posted a picture of that on Instagram. That thing, even with 357, feels like a 380. It is so soft shooting because it's comped, it's an integral comp and all that sort of thing. I mean, it just is amazing. So stuff is a lot more fun. Now, I don't know. I mean, I've got 4 revolvers, I think, at this point. That may be about it, because I'm having more fun still with semi-autos of various sorts. So I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, Will Waldarm is saying the SI 1 Pro is Swiss made. It's a CZ97 clone, 45 ACP, but much better. So yeah, if it's Swiss made, it's legit. So
I'll check out the videos. Thank you.
Yeah, they make Swiss make some nice stuff. But yeah, now as far as ARs and stuff like that, do you really have any? I mean, I know that you have them, but do you have any love for them, or other than okay?
They are strictly a utility for me, just a tool, nothing more.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I mean, like I said, I know that, a lot of people have them, but don't shoot them very much, don't play with them, but they've got them if they need them. So,
right.
Crystal P has a good question. Any new notable 1911s in the collection?
I got real hooked back into Colt for a while early on last year when I really started getting into Gunbroker, which is the worst thing I ever did. It's very expensive to get into Gunbroker, but some Colts, just a Series 70 9mm competition, which I've had before many years ago when it first came out. Sold it like we do a lot of things, and that was kind of one that I really wanted back. And then a 9mm, it's a Colt Defender. Yeah. So that's going to be your commander size. And then I have another one, and I can't remember. That little Mustang Pocket Light, which is kind of fun. Although for whatever reason, it does not fit my hand very well. So it's pretty challenging to shoot. I've got a little Beretta Tomcat that's much easier. It just fits my hand a little different. So for kind of a 380 or 32, I much prefer that Tomcat, but still, I like the Mustang for the collection, if nothing else.
Okay. Bald is asking who has a Canon here, and I have a Canon. I really do. it's a golf ball cannon. It'll shoot a golf ball 300 yards.
There you go.
But yeah, but that's what I said. If you want it, get it, you know. Paul is saying, I rented a Staccato P at the range at Austin. Yeah, I've been there before. Wasn't really sure what all the hype was about afterwards. Felt like a thicker gripped 1911, which it is. The beaver tail and safety was also digging into my hands. And Paul H probably has big hands, so I would guess. But what's your opinion on the Staccatos? Do you still have yours?
I'm down to one. I was kind of peaked at 5 and down to 1. And I only have the R. I like the single stack government. It reminds me of a traditional 1911. And it probably has the best trigger of all of them, with the exception of the Combat Master. That had an incredible trigger, but the R is pretty darn close. The P would have been probably my next favorite, but the thing never got shot. And Paul, to your point, the ergos are a little bit weird. There are a couple little points on the rear side of the grip that, depending on the size of your hand, you can notice them pretty significantly. But at the end of the day, it really is. It's a double stack 1911. I think the advantage to something like a Staccato is the trigger. The triggers are typically really, really good. I mean, typically around 3 pounds and about 1 millimeter to 1.5 millimeters reset travel. I mean, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've got big hands, and I have complained about it numerous times. You know, I'll get blood here if I shoot it a lot, but it's just a thing where I'm building up a callus. And, you know, Paul, if you shoot it more, if you were able to shoot it more, you might actually get used to it. It is new and different if you haven't shot one. But, you know, it's a gun that I've actually really, really enjoyed. I love my C2. So, and yes, Keith, the Tomcat does have the flip up barrel. Oh, you answered it. Never mind. But yes, I mean, I enjoy the Staccatos. I don't think I would buy like 5 of them, but I really do enjoy them. So,
yeah. So Jasper, there was a bit of a high point on Gunbroker for Combat Masters, and I timed it pretty well. I couldn't say no to it. So it allowed me to really beef up the collection in other directions. I mean, almost all the Berettas I got were from the Combat Master, including a Beretta 86, which is pretty hard to get and pretty expensive. So to me, it was the right move. Even though the Combat Master was a beautiful gun, it was cool and it was rare. It didn't necessarily give me anything that like the TSO or some of the other guns I have in the collection give me. So financially, it made sense to sell that to bulk up the collection a little bit.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, Paul's saying I don't have large hands. However, I do have a very aggressive high tight grip. Yeah, and everybody should have a high tight grip. But if your hands are big, then that's even more to deal with. But yes, it is you know, something that we all have to deal with. And Art is saying, 2 of my favorite YouTubers together. Awesome, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Art.
Yeah, it's definitely a joy having KS on. I miss the guy. And, you know, I'm sure some people will be like, hey, why isn't 17 on here? You know, since KS hasn't been on in forever, I kind of wanted to make it about him. And then, you know, hopefully we'll have 17 on. And then maybe we can do a reunion chat where all 3 of us are back on, you know, sometime. So just trying to mix it up a bit, have some fun. Okay, here's a question. IBG is saying, KS, did you shoot the XC? And if so, what did you think?
I did not shoot it. I've handled one, but it was a used one. I mean, it was a very nice gun. But if you've played around with a lot of the other newer Staccatos, it's not that much different. And that one is really geared towards competition. That really is their main competition offering in the Staccato line. But if you've got some other Staccatos, it doesn't really do anything different. I mean, unless you're a hardcore competitor and want that 2011, you do that, or you do something like an Atlas or something like that.
Yeah. And IBG, I have shot the XC. Matter of fact, I got a video of the Atlas. It was the Atlas. Gosh, what one was it? I can't remember. I'd say it in the video, but it's got the dot on it. And the XC had the dot on it. I shot them together, and I've got videos on it. And I mean, I thought it shot great. You know, it does have the comp on it. So, and I love comp guns, but, or the built-in comp, so to say. But yeah, I thought it was a really good pistol. I mean, if that's what you're looking for the price point, I mean, get it, you know, it's whatever you like. But, Is it a gun I would absolutely have to have? Not really. So, and is your Beretta 86 a 32 ACP Cheetah?
The Beretta 86 was never a 32 ACP. That was always a 380.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay, here you go. Richard Jenkins wants to know any 9mm PCC recommendations.
Well, like I said, I like the Banshee a lot. I'm a big fan. But I've been very impressed. I've got the B&T. It's the APC 9K. I've got a folding brace. It's suppressed, optic, and iron sights. Great trigger, really nice gun. It's a folding brace, so it's very small. If I take the can off, I mean that thing fits in a little messenger bag, a little teeny messenger bag. Wow. So it's been pretty impressive. The one thing I don't like about it is proprietary magazines. You can get a Glock lower for like $600. That's not worth it to me. But mags are somewhat relatively easy to find, so it's not that big of a deal. But they're kind of pricey. So the gun's pricey too. So it's a premium gun, but it's built for war. So
yeah. I mean, if I was going to, and I've had the Scorpion and I've got my AR-9 now, but it's a full-size PCC gun. But I think anything with a Glock mag, could be good. There's some junk out there, so just be careful. But B&T, I mean, you can't go wrong with it. You're going to pay for it. And Banshee, I don't personally have an experience with them. I've handled them, but I've never shot one. But I know KS has a bunch of them or has played with a bunch of them. So
yeah. So
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say Red Menace shooting. So they had a whole series in the 80s. It was the 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86. When you get to the 87, it's a 22. But the 81 is a 32. I know nothing of the 82 and 83 there. I don't even know if they ever came to the U.S. Some of you guys might know more than me. But the 84 is a 380. The 85 is a 380. And the 86 is a 380 as well. 84's double stack, 85 and 86 are single stack. The 86 is a flip up barrel.
Okay.
So,
well, there you go. Y'all all got schooled. Scorpion is very reliable and cheap. Now, you've had Scorpions, I have. How would you, and I said it on a chat, I think last week, about the Scorpion, but what is your opinion on the CZ Scorpion?
I think they're great. A big fat bolt that can take anything. They're designed for full auto, so they run, and they're reliable. I mean, you can feel it shoot a little bit. That bolt's so heavy, but if somebody gave me one of those and said, "Here's what you get," cool. I'd be good with it. It'd be fine.
Yeah, they're super reliable. I mean, they shoot. Like he said, they're designed for full auto, and I have shot a full auto Scorpion before, and they're not a joke. I mean, they're legit. To be in pretty much dominantly polymer gun, or pretty much all polymer except in the inside. I mean, it'll do what it needs to do. The only thing, if you're comparing it to other AR-9s, the bolt, the clunky ass bolt, you will feel it. If you got it up here, you're going to feel it come back in your jaw. Not that it's painful, but if you're not used to it, it'll surprise you, because I've let people shoot it that have never shot a Scorpion, and they're like, when the bolt comes back, I can see their eyes kind of rear up, and they're like, what the hell was that? Because they're just not used to it. But once you get used to it, yeah, they're great shooters. But if you have a proper AR-9 or something smoother or roller delay, you'll be like, why the hell do I have a big block? It's just something different. So
yeah.
But yeah, they're great. I mean, they run. Drew Bradley is saying, Big Johnson, your test of the shake and awake battery games, keep an eye on the battery simply just leaking. I noticed today a Duracell leaked through to corrode the side contact. Not sure what he's talking about. Oh, maybe he's talking about the Hollow Suns, but I've checked mine so far so good. I haven't, and I do periodically change the batteries. I just did that one longevity test, if that's what he's talking about, to see how long it would last.
Gotcha.
Here you go. Thoughts on the Shadow System MR920?
It's a good gun. I've had one, shot one. It was a good gun. I mean, if you want a really good out of the box upgraded Glock that's pretty well tested, pretty reliable, I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, and they're made in Plano, Texas, so they're like 30 minutes from me.
There you go.
I mean, I think that they're great guns. Matter of fact, at TGE in I think 2 weeks, Shadow Systems will be out there. They're going to do a special event, and you can shoot them all. You can play with them all. The guys are going to be there. You can ask them questions. But yeah, I mean, I've said this, and I know you have, and even 17 has. If you buy a Glock and you plan on doing all that stuff to it anyway, why not spend the money? Because it's going to be cheaper in the long run just to buy a Shadow, and they've got their optic system, which pretty much takes everything. So I mean, I think they're great guns if that's what you're looking for. So, and I shot it wasn't the long slide one, it was the Glock 19. So I guess, is that the MR 920?
Yeah.
Okay. I did shoot that one. It was a test gun at TGE. I shot it. And I mean, it shot like a Glock, felt like a Glock. Actually, this one had a different backstrap on it, so it felt a little different with the angle, but I liked it. And it did have a dot on it. And I mean, I thought it shot great. It had the threaded, twisted barrel, and it had the optic and I think suppressor sights on it, but I thought it was a pretty nice gun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. See, Kim, that's a whole deal. Yeah. All of our Democrats from Texas loaded up on a plane and flew to Washington. And I've left several comments on that crap saying they can keep them. Oh, here we go. Uncle Dan is asking, what is your opinion on the Hellcat KS?
It's a fine gun. I don't have a problem with it. I think the trigger's too heavy, but I'm weird about triggers. I want triggers, even carry guns, to be like 4.5 pounds. And it really, those come in closer to 6, sometimes a little bit more. And you can get an Mpxs trigger that improves it a little bit, but it doesn't drop the pull weight by very much. But for what they are, for the size, I think they're good guns.
Yeah. I mean, I've played around. I haven't shot one. No, I have shot one. I shot Humbles. I mean, I think they're great guns for what they are. They're just, too small for me to carry, but I know that Uncle Dan has gotten one and he really likes it. So, but I think, again, it goes to what you like. Brian is saying Scorpions aren't cheap anymore. Have had friends crack their side plate. Facebook groups, there are a lot of people or posts blowing up. Yeah. And I was going to say, and if you run shit ammo or, like I saw one that a guy at TGE put some remanufactured, and I looked at this ammo that was in the bag that he left. Holy crap, it looked like Ray Charles loaded it. But yeah, it blew up. So I think it was a double charge, and it blew the side out of the CZ Scorpion. But I mean, I have never, one that's ran regular ammo, I have never seen one blow up, and I've seen a shitload of them. I'm sure you have too.
Well, I mean, we've got a full auto Scorpion at Centerfire, and it's got hundreds of thousands, if not 1 million rounds through it. And it gets regular maintenance. Yep. It's never blown up.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I think if people are running some crappy ammo or, something like that, or double charged ammo and not cleaning it, not doing any maintenance on it. Yeah. I mean, hell, anything could blow up. A Glock could, if you don't take care of it, I know it's, of course it is, a handgun, but things can happen to anything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've seen some top of the line guns. Now I've seen some guys that own top of the line guns and they treat them like garbage, and
right.
They, like you run the slide and I'm like, dude, this is a $6,000 pistol, and you run the slide, it just feels like trash. And I'm like, when's the last time you cleaned it? And they're like, oh shit, 2 years ago. And I'm like, good Lord. I mean, it looked like it had mud in it. So
yeah.
Oh, and since you're, what's your opinion on the PTR MP5 clones?
I have no opinion. I don't know that I've ever actually seen one before. I mean, I've shot MP5s. I've seen an SP5 and the Zenith I've shot before. I have no experience with PTR, but I hear they're pretty good, and you can get them for, I don't know, 1,800, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, for like $17.95. TGE has some at DFW Shooting Sports. That's their sister store. They've had like 3 or 4 of them, and they sell them. And I've asked the guys about them, and I've just held them. I haven't shot one, but they say they've gotten heard good feedback on it. So who knows? Yeah, I mean, like I said, if they're kind of a lesser known brand, so to say, or whatever, but. If you look at reviews, I think there is like maybe 1 or 2 differing reviews on them. And I think, if I remember right, I think Honest shot one. If I remember right, I can't remember, but I can't remember if he liked it or didn't like it. I can't remember. I think he liked it though. But hey, thanks, Drew. I appreciate y'all. Yeah, and if y'all are enjoying this, smash that thumbs up button. I definitely appreciate it. I know the algorithms, and I don't know. I mean, I know you haven't been doing YouTube recently, but I think you still left your stuff up, haven't you?
Yeah, I haven't really touched it. I still see all the comments that come in, which aren't quite as many anymore, which is fine by me. But I'll occasionally respond to a douchey comment or whatever. But and I get a lot of junk now. This is becoming more and more prevalent. I get probably 3 or 4 of these a week, maybe a little bit more. But things about Wicker. Selling a thing and whatever, and it's obnoxious. So I delete every one of those.
I remove them. I report them as spam,
Yeah.
and I actually delete them because I get this one that pops up all the time, these comments, and they're from people supposedly, but they're bots. And it says, I just bought my Glock from Glock Slick or Gun Slick or whatever. Do this, or I'll get that net. It's not Netflix, but it's something. I watch something on Flick Zone or whatever, and I'm just like, whatever, Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, all this bot crap, but I report it and delete it because I'm like, and I used to get, I know you didn't deal with this, but during the COVID, there were people coming on and they were like, oh, we've got all of this ammo at like rock bottom prices, call us or Apple Pay and all this shit. And all of those were scams. So I was reporting every one of them. And a couple of people supposedly, I think they got the shaft on some of that stuff where they sent them money and didn't get their ammo. Imagine that.
Yeah. Real quick, John was asking if Centerfire has any Mpxs. Mpxs are unobtainium. I mean, there are some online, but I haven't seen one in a shop for a couple of years, to be honest with you. So, I mean, I think they're out there, but they're extremely hard to find. And the only time I recall, again, in the last couple of years that I saw one, it was a copperhead. That was it. So it wasn't the traditional Mpx, whether it's, the K or maybe one of the carbines or whatever. So you'll go online.
I saw one on Shooting Surplus, and they get them occasionally, but they are insanely priced.
Well, yeah. So real quick, I had the K, and that was one of the later videos I did on the channel. And I think I picked that up for $1,400 or $1,500. I sold it for just under $3,000 last year. I mean, I don't normally tell stories like that, but just to give you an idea of the prices on Mpxs, my advice, look at other options, because if you're going to be paying anywhere near that much, you may as well get like a B&T or something like that. I think they're a better gun.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I have a tricked out Banshee Series 300. Just wondering if it's worth it to upgrade or worth the upgrade.
I mean, what upgrades? I mean, I think they're great guns. So that's the kind of one you could run with pretty easily.
Yeah. I get asked about this one. Has the CZ Custom A01C been mentioned? I guess when we were talking about, like cool guns and stuff like that.
Yeah. I aside from handling one, I've never shot one, but they look cool. I'd like to shoot one at some point.
Yeah. I've handled them, but again, I have not shot one, but there's some guns that just really tickle my fancy. I'm not saying it's a bad gun, but what you're paying for it, I don't know if you're going to get, it is heavier, so you're going to have less recoil felt if you're recoil sensitive. It's blocky, it's a big chunk. If that's something you're into, I think it would be cool, but personally, they really just haven't done a lot for me. I've had numerous questions. Why haven't you bought one? Why haven't you bought one? And I'm just like, I'm sure everybody who has them loves them, and I'm sure they're great guns, but I wouldn't spend the money on it personally.
Well, and Bagger is saying the upgrade would be an MP5 clone. Maybe I'm weird, and because I've shot regular MP5s and full auto MP5s. Again, we've got one at Centerfire suppressed. I don't think they're all that great, and maybe it's because I have glasses. I can't tuck into them, especially on the peep sights that originally come on them. They're not very comfortable for me, and I know you have to really kind of get your face right up against the sight to really make it work. but it's not the most comfortable platform. I think they are cool as hell. They're iconic, Die Hard and all that. So I get that completely. I totally do. And I would own one just for that, but they're not fun to shoot for me. So I go for other platforms.
Well, and people have asked me about it, and I've said it numerous times on the chat. They're cool. I've shot a shitload of them. I've shot the auto, the fully auto, and to me, it's just like, yeah. I mean, they're cool, and I'm not knocking anybody that has one or that wants one, but I'm like, okay, if I was wanting a PCC alternative, I think there's much better options that you could do more with, or upgrade or put sights on or do different things to it. But for the iconic thing, yes. That's the only reason I would ever have one. And the roller delay definitely helps. I mean, it's really nice, but they're just like, I could totally live without one. I mean, I have forever. I just don't, there's just nothing that just makes me want to go out and grab one. Now, if you're, an HK freak or an MP5 freak, grab one.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if it's something you enjoy and you shoot well, go for it. I feel bad. Killa has asked this question a couple of times and gotten to it. No big deal. But he's asking about the Chris Vector. Killa, so I shot one time. It was a white one. It was one of the Stormtrooper ones. I got to tell you, I didn't care for the ergos on that very much. I had a really difficult time getting comfortable with it because of the way it slants immediately right after the barrel, and it's kind of an odd setup. I mean, it shot fine. I didn't necessarily notice the recoil system, the way that works, how it goes down rather than come straight back and all that. I'm not describing that very well, but it's not a very exciting gun to me. It's not really for me, but I know a lot of people get pretty hyped up about it.
I have shot the 9mm version, and I've shot the 45 version. Yeah, it was the 45 version. And honestly, and this is just my opinion, everybody is allowed to have their opinion. I think they're hot pieces of garbage. I do not like them, and everybody, hopefully y'all know I'm totally upfront. The ergonomics suck. I mean, they're just weird. I don't know. It's just a weird wrist cant for me. And I've got huge hands, and I was like, this feels like crap. I didn't, the recoil's not bad, but the 9mm that I ran, and it was an early production one, the 9mm that I ran, it ran like dog shit. The 45 ran fine, but I was just like, really? There's much better options than those. And I'm not knocking them. If you own one and you love it, hey, that's cool, but they're definitely not for me. I think they're sci-fi looking, and a lot of people, I think, really love the look of them because they're unique, but I think they're hot pieces of garbage personally. So yeah. I would never, ever in my life depend on that gun for any kind of home defense role or anything like that. Yeah. Now, a question for you, and I brought this up before because I had talked to someone, but what is your opinion on the DWX? Is that something you would be interested in? The Daniel Weston DWX, or not really so much anymore?
I'm sort of over it. Okay. I mean, if I stumbled upon one, if they ever come out, maybe. Maybe, I don't know. I'd have to see it. At this point, I'd really have to see it to first of all believe it, but then also figure out, is there any benefit to this whatsoever versus other firearms, that sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I really still want one because, and if you think about it, you've got the Shadow 2 single action only. So it is similar, but it doesn't have a 1911 trigger. It has a hinge trigger. But, I just want it. I've just really taken a liking to that gun. And I'm really excited about it. Whenever it comes out, I know we're all sitting back and waiting, but, it is what it is. What's your opinion on binary triggers?
Not a thing for me. I hear them and see them a lot on the range. And oftentimes I see people have more trouble with them than I think they're worth. So it's not for me.
Yeah, me either. I think they're hot garbage. I think it's a gimmick. And
I'd rather just do that, Yeah.
And that's the thing. You are going to use more ammo. I don't really like the idea because if that's something that you're like, hey, I'm going to shoot a lot, you know, it fires this way and fires that way. So when you're shooting your regular AR, you're going to be like, okay, this isn't doing that. I just think it's more of a gimmick and more of like a play thing. You know, you can use a belt loop or a stick and do the same thing, actually faster. I don't know. And most of them that I have seen installed, especially by people who really don't know what they're doing, usually don't run afterwards. I mean, they'll put it in and the damn thing just flat out won't run. Matter of fact, what's really funny, you know, have you had any experience with the rare breed trigger?
No, none.
Okay. I was actually at the gun shop the other day, and they have 2 of those turds in there that are broke. And imagine that. If you've done any research on them, the springs are breaking in them, and you know they're not taking them back. But yeah, they're, you know, and they were asking my opinion, like, "Hey, do you know about these?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I've seen a bunch about them." But that's another thing I just wouldn't want to get into. And I'm not saying they don't work. Maybe some people have had good luck with them. I just think over a prolonged period of time of shooting them, they're probably going to break. And that's another thing I wouldn't depend on. I mean, you know, it's kind of like that old, you know, that's like people buying $300 bolts for an AR. You know, oh, this one's the whiz bang, you know, this and that and this. You know, most of your standard mil spec bolts are 11.3 ounces and they freaking run. They've ran for ages. You know, I don't know about all this whiz bang shit. You know, some of this stuff you kind of don't need to monkey with because that's the heart of your rifle. So that's kind of my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not cool and they don't look awesome and stuff like that, but you know, rather than just dumping a bunch of money and, you know, whiz bang and me, I mean, imagine me, every custom gun I have has a bunch of money in it, but it's also made the way that I want it. But I think when you really start messing with, you know, the heart of your rifle, you want it to work.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on the IWI Masada?
It's a good gun for the money. I never picked one up. I've never shot one. No experience there, but from what I understand, from what I've read, heard, and I'm sure I've seen some of the same review type things that you guys have. I mean, they, you know, for the money, they look like really good guns.
Yeah, I shot one. I shot Humbles, and I thought it was actually a really nice gun. I mean, for the price, you kind of can't beat it. Now, one thing I'm not super keen on, and I'll just say this: they have polymer, you know, optic plates, and you know, when you press them on, you screw them on, and all that other stuff. If you ever take your optic off, you're going to see them a little squeezed, but they're also polymer, and that's what they're going to do. It's just seating the optic. I just don't know about prolonged life, or if you accidentally over torqued it, or under torqued it and it just, you know, your optic kind of rattled on it. You know, if would it break or things like that? I don't know, but I think it's a great gun for the price that they used to be. I've seen some of them now for like $600. I wouldn't pay that for it personally, but I mean, I think they're good guns.
Nice. Well, that's kind of like the PDP, that optic mount. I don't think that's made for longevity at all.
Yeah, and I've seen some people report about it and stuff and saying it's probably not going to last for a long time. You know, it could cause issues. But like I said, I mean, I have no issue with Walther. I'm just not a big fanboy of that particular, you know, the PPQs. I mean, they're cool, but they're, you know, they just don't build a gun for my hand size unless I got the Navy. And I know with the PDP, you have other options now. But I just wasn't, you know, I played around with it at the store when they first got it, and I was just like, you know, not saying it's a bad gun. If you have one, you probably really enjoy it, but it's just nothing I would run out and buy.
Yeah.
Wield is saying the rare breed trigger was fun, but I sold mine. Been there, done that. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. And I look at it this way. If that thing ever did go south, like with the company, say ATF got involved or something, and you've bought that with your credit card and had it mailed to your house, guess whose door they're going to knock on? I just don't want to mess with that. I'm not into that door hanger bullshit and all that crap. If it's kind of, you know, solvent trap shit, I mean, come on, you know, we all know that that's a setup for somebody. So, and who knows, the ATF could be behind half that shit, setting that crap up for people to buy it. But,
right,
you know, you got to know if it's too good to be true, that it either has issues or somebody's going to come hunt your ass down. So I don't mess with that. Oh, thank you, Anthony. Anthony gave us $2 super sticker. I appreciate it, Anthony.
Nice.
Thank you so much. KS, do you own any Steyrs?
Yeah, C982. It's fantastic. Love that gun. I did the reviews on the M9 and the L9. I tried a C9, and man, that's the one. That's the one I love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, and I had one. I can't remember what it is. What the hell did I have? Do you remember? I know it's been a long time.
The Steyr?
Yeah.
You had an M9.
Okay, I had an M9. Yeah, and I mean, it shot great. The ergonomics are great. The grip surface is slick as shit. It definitely needs to be stippled in my eyes, or if you want to put one of those sticky things on them. However, with my hands, the way I grip and monster grip, that shit, they all peel off over time for me. But the sights, they're not bad. They're just something to get different to get used to. I mean, I think if you get the, upgraded one, don't get the first gen one with the shitty trigger. I mean, they run, and the mags were reasonable at one time. Who knows what they are now, but price wise, but
yeah, they're still reasonable. Havoc, good to see you. Havoc says I've been MIA for a while. Me too.
Yeah. Hello, Havoc. But yeah, it's there's and since you've been doing this for a long time, and I have too, there's guns that we really take a liking to, and then kind of fade away from it. Like kind of me with SIG. I don't really have any love for SIG. I don't have hate for them, but I've had some issues with some, and offered their customer, reached out to customer support, and the guns were under warranty, and they told me to piss off. So I think SIG's the really, really, really good guns that they make, I think, are their steel guns. Their plastic ones, and I shot P320s forever. They just don't do anything for me personally, and I'm not hating on them. I'm just saying they're just not for me. But we'll all get into some of these guns that we try, and we might be bandwagoners for a while and then jump off. But I think there's just some guns that you just really, really want to keep, and then some guns you buy and play with for a while, and then you just get tired of them. I don't think there's anything wrong with that for anybody.
I agree.
So, is there any? I guess now that we're thinking about it, is there any gun that you really, really regret selling?
I've gotten almost all of them back.
Oh, okay. There you go. Well, put it this way.
That's been part of the focus of what I've been doing. I mean, okay. I got to tell you, the first gun I bought when I turned 21 was the Smith & Wesson 915. I've probably told this story before. It's clearly been a while. And so it's been on the back of my mind for a long time because I sold it pretty early on. I learned that you could trade and buy and sell guns. And I think I got my first Glock 17 for that. It was like a Gen 2 17 or something, many years ago. And so it's always really bothered me. And when I got into Gunbroker and all of that, I guess early last year, whenever it was, and got pretty addicted pretty quick, I started saying, okay, what am I missing that I've had in the past that I really enjoyed, and started kind of pulling back some of those firearms. And one of them ended up being the 915, which kind of kicked off this Smith & Wesson craze that I'm in right now. In fact, I've got the Model 39 right next to me. It's just a gorgeous gun. It's pristine. The wood grips, it's beautiful. But that 915, when I got that in my hand, and that one I got really lucky. It was also in almost mint condition. That's hard to find. The 915s and the 910s and the 908s, those are usually beat to snot. I mean, they look awful. I mean, they've been rode hard and put away wet. This one is nearly perfect. And so it's a pleasure to shoot. It's a lot of fun. It's obviously not modern. When you get it in your hand, you kind of, double action is pretty heavy and all that sort of thing. But it's built. They're built tough. They're built well. They're reliable. And so to me, that puts a smile on my face. That's a lot more exciting to me than if somebody said, here, would you like this 915 or that Alien? I'd take the 915 in a nanosecond. The Alien, I could care less about. I mean, it just, to me, it's not exciting to me, but the 915 has some history and also some sentimental value to me. So yeah, there might be still a few left that I need to come back to, but almost all of them are back.
Oh, there you go. Well, that's good. And that's good that you can do that because, and I've looked, trust me, the one I'm going to say, and I've said it before, is my Browning High Power. This was not your average high power. This was an original high power, not a mock-up, not a wannabe one. It was the OG Browning high power. And, that was back in the day, and I had a guy that offered me a shitload of money for it. So I sold it, and now I can't even touch it for what I made on it. So I regret it. And all the ones that I've seen are either beat to shit or they're, not the real deal. They're, made like a Browning high power. But man, I just really regret selling that gun. That's probably my number one. I've sold others, that I'm like, damn, I shouldn't have got rid of that. But, just like MD Polo is saying, his Wesson Model 41 with a 7-inch barrel, regret it, trying to buy it back. There's just, and IBG is saying his 45 shield. Hell, I still have my 45 shield, and I don't even think I've shot the damn thing in 3 years. I shot it probably 2 years ago, but it's little things like that where you're just like, man, why did I get rid of that? And I always said if I went into, like a pawn shop or something where somebody just had one, but of course with these prices now and with Browning high power prices, people pretty much realize what they have now. So, but I that's one that I've always regretted selling. Is your 39 a dash 2?
Yeah, I answered him. And I feel bad. So because I'm on a really small laptop, I'm on the StreamYard version of the stream, and I can't comment back. So I have to flip over to YouTube, and that's kind of a pain. So I haven't really been answering in the chat very much to people. So I apologize, but it's just the setup because I'm not on the normal big PC. But anyways, yeah, it's a dash 2. That is correct.
Okay, I've had a lot of people ask, and I have to look at my serial number list because I don't remember, but a lot of people have asked what, and I'll tell you 2 revolvers I have. I won't tell you the other one because you can't get them anymore, or it's a special one, but I've got a Smith & Wesson 357. It's a model 27-2. I've got a Smith & Wesson 38, 36, hang on. Yeah, it's a model 36. And then I've got another one that I can't speak of. But anyway, it's, I like revolvers. I grew up on revolvers also along with 1911s, but I just don't shoot them anymore. They literally sit there and they are immaculate condition. I mean, they don't have a scratch on them. And that's the way I want to keep them. By shooting them, you're not going to get them, I can clean the dirt off of them, but these are also sentimental. So, I just don't shoot them very much. But as far as revolvers, I think the Chiappa Rhino is pretty cool. It is weird looking, but I think it's pretty cool and it shoots good. But I would definitely like a Korth. That would be my holy grail revolver. But like I said, the one that I want, I think I looked at it and it was like $7,600 or something freaking crazy. It was like ungodly. But I definitely have a dot on it because it's got the rail. The one I want has all the rails, the pick rails all over the damn thing. So it would have a dot on it. But, maybe I just need to go shoot them. I need to show them some love. I just haven't shot them in so damn long. Maybe I need to.
Yeah, there you go.
Wheel and Wheel Arm has 4 high powers. Okay, Wheel and Wheel Arm, I'm about to delete you from this chat forever. No, I know he actually has a modernized high power that's pretty freaking sweet. It's it's nice. So, and trust me, that is a beautiful gun. I would love to have that. Any thoughts on the new Rock Island Armory STK 100? I don't know if you've seen it or heard about it, but maybe you have.
Hang on. I again had to flip over as I wanted to say back to Pete. Is that the kind of Glock, the RIA?
Yeah. Rock Island Armory is their new Filipino Glock. Glock.
I don't, aside from maybe one video or a couple of blurbs about it, I know very little. Certainly never seen one in person. I'm sort of to a place where the Glock and the Glock clones and that sort of thing are far less inspiring to me, like the Rock Island Dagger and all of those. I'm sure a lot of them are fine. I mean, I've got, I still have the Zev Hypercomp, but it sits in the safe. It never gets shot or anything. It's just not as exciting to me as it once was. I'd like to see one. I mean, it'd be fun to see. The chance that I'd shoot one is probably going to be pretty low these days, but I don't know. It may turn out to be just a really, really good offering. Who knows?
Yeah, and it's based on a Gen 3 platform, so you could change a bunch of stuff on it. But I mean, I posted it and stuff because I got the alert and, from them and, saying, hey, we got this coming out, and it's a 2-piece aluminum where they put it together. And, I've got some concerns about that since it's a 2-piece setup and it's got 2 screws that kind of screw it together. When you're gripping that thing, could it, under recoil, if you're really hammering down on that gun, could it create a pinch point? Could it bite you? I don't, with where it screws together, that might be a possibility, maybe not. Stuff like that just doesn't excite me. I'm not saying that it's a bad gun. It probably runs great, but it's just nothing that, and I don't buy them for reviews. So it's, that's just nothing that really does anything for me. Bald saying everyone needs at least one Grand Power and one 1911. I take the 1911, but Keith Gregory, Colt Python is the one I want. What do you think about the Colt Python?
I'd take any of the snake guns. They're cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think the old Colt Pythons are really, really cool. The new ones, I'm not knocking them. It's just, the vintage, the real deal, like the OG, I think you just can't replace an OG. Now, if you've never had one or never seen one or, never been blessed to shoot one, I've shot, my grandfather had one. And what's funny is he didn't treat it like a nice gun. He actually scratched the piss out of it. My uncle has it and it looks like dog crap. But, and I really told him he needs to send it and have it redone, but he won't do it because he's too freaking cheap. But I really, I personally wouldn't buy a new one. Would you? I mean, if you haven't had one and you would want one, but would you buy one?
I probably not, unless I found one for a really, really good deal, but probably not. But I was always a fan of the Anaconda. I thought that was pretty cool. And then there was also, I think there was a Viper. I mean, there were 4 or 5 different snake guns out there.
I don't remember the Viper. I mean, I'm not saying there wasn't one. I don't remember it. But, if I saw it, maybe I would. But I definitely remember the Anacondas. Yeah, I mean, I think they're cool guns. And it's just that nostalgia factor, of having the old gun, I think would be really cool. And plus the Pythons now, the old ones, if you've seen them in really good condition, they're not cheap. Yeah, there was one in San Antonio for sale. And I was just, and I'm not a revolver guy, but I was like, holy crap, that's a real one. And it was definitely priced as a real one. So,
yeah.
But, yeah. So, okay. Well, I'll just go ahead and ask you, what do you have coming up on the channel?
Lots of stuff. Can't wait.
Got tons of stuff ready to review it. That is one question. And I know if I don't ask it as an interviewer and a friend, I will get asked it or it will be left on the chat. But do you have, and honestly, if you want to say, no problem. But what do you ever think about maybe coming back and doing some video reviews, or you just kind of like, I'm just enjoying other stuff, or, what are you thinking about that?
I'll probably put something out this year just for taxes, but that would be about it.
There you go. Okay.
Here's the thing. We've talked about this before. YouTube doesn't promote any videos that I put out now. So why, and it's no offense to anyone whatsoever, but the business side of me says, why would I spend the time and the effort and the money and all the things and all the stuff if it isn't going to be promoted and grow and all that. And again, it wasn't about the money, but just the fact that they wouldn't recommend it to anyone. That drives me nuts. That's uninspiring to me. And again, I'm busy. I'm a busy person. I do not sit around very much. So there's not a lot of time for that anymore.
No, I totally get it. I mean, I totally respect that. And I mean, I do it because I enjoy it. And also, you're right. I mean, it is a tax write-off. So, not that that's what it's all about. And trust me, I don't get paid a bunch. I wish YouTube, especially now, they'll put up ads and not even pay you for them. So, but whatever. It is what it is. But yeah. And, and like Charlie, and I was just actually fixing to say that, what about Patreon? What's your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I did it for a short while. I hated it. And I hated it because I hated the idea of people just giving me money. I obviously it was for content and to support the channel and everything. And that was all very nice. And I am forever thankful, but it was just super weird to me. I like the idea of YouTube because you could watch it and you could just watch it for entertainment and there was no cost. Yeah. You'd have to sit through some ads, I guess, or whatever, but But that was that to me was a much better relationship, because YouTube was able to, give us a little bit of money for the effort, but you didn't have to. And I like that. I really like that. I still watch a lot of YouTube, although very little gun content anymore, because I don't get a lot of it recommended to me anymore. And I've got KS Gun Guy, which was only dedicated to watching gun channels, never anything else. And all of a sudden, it's all just junk now. It's not gun reviews or anything like that. So, I mean, obviously, YouTube has changed dramatically over the last couple of years, really. So, it's just not a thing. And by the way, Pistol Pete, I will make a video and just email it to you. How about that? So we can clear the slate. All right. Yeah. I do owe you that video. So
and I've been asked about the Patreon thing too. Hey, do you have a Patreon? And I'm just like, no, just support the affiliate links that I do. If you need those products, that's cool. Because I kind of look at it this way. I don't expect, I work with companies, and, I think you did too, but I work with companies, and, they'll offer, I get a little kickback if you buy something, and that's cool. But I would rather, work with companies that I truly believe in, not just, and I've had a bunch of people, hey, we'll give you an affiliate link. I'm like, your shit's junk, so I don't want to do that. But I have affiliate links. So if you purchase something, I get a little bit of kickback, and that helps too. But I feel weird about asking people for money for my hobby, because this is not my business. And I understand some channels that's their business. So if you choose to give, that's cool. But, if I can work with a company and the people enjoy the content or get something out of it or whatever, I don't want them to have to pay for it or feel obligated to pay for it. Right. And that's just me. Like I said, I don't, this stuff where if I watch a video, if I happen to be interested in something, and I get the 5-minute speech of, we're Patreon, you've got to give to our Patreon and stuff. I'm just like, screw you, man. I mean, don't beg. I hate it. Right. It's just, even if that's your business, I just feel weird about it. So, but we did have a question earlier. What is your thoughts on the AREX Delta, optic ready Gen 2?
Well, I hated the first one. Although I didn't come out and say that in the video, I'll say it now. I don't really care, but I just could not stand the gun. The second one looks like a dramatic improvement, but I have not even, I've seen one in a case, didn't ask to handle it. It wasn't a thing for me. So I've kind of moved away from that. I would at some point love to try an alpha, but that's the only one that would be at all inspiring to me.
Yeah, and I've played with it. Texas Gun Experience has had them periodically. I do prefer the full size one, because they had, I guess, both versions. I preferred the full size just due to my hand size. Is it earth shattering? No. Is it a good price point pistol for an optic ready? Yes. If they're reliable, I don't know the track record on it. I've never shot one, but I mean, if that's a gun that you're interested in, I've had a lot of requests on my channel saying, hey, why don't you try one out? And I'm just like, because I don't buy guns for reviews. But, I think that if that's something that you're interested in or that people might like and you want to get one, Mm-hmm. Yeah. You have another question from Brian. Do you still keep track of your old videos? Do they still do pretty well with views? Because it's been a long time.
I look at the analytics very little anymore. Again, I mean, I check on the comments from time to time just because I'll see one pop up. And if it's one of those junk ones, I try and get rid of it. I don't want somebody to follow a link or go somewhere and get in trouble. But I mean, they're probably a third of what they were a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. But it's a slow decline, and I expected that to happen. In fact, I really expected it to happen a lot faster than it has. Yeah. So people still watch from time to time, but everything has kind of gotten a little stale, and it's older content, older guns now at this point, probably not as interesting to as many people.
Yeah. I think if you and I started a makeup channel for men and dress up and drag, I think we would freaking kill it. We would probably just be killing it.
A couple of old, in perfect shape men. On that note, it's getting late and I need bourbon.
Well, I enjoyed you being on, man. It's a great time to always, you and I have talked, but it's great, that you came on and let everybody know what's going on. Let them know what you're into and the guns and the collection and things like that. I know that they were, excited to hear it. I was excited to hear it. So I think that's awesome. And definitely love you to come back on anytime that you're free. And I appreciate the family members out there asking the great questions. Sorry if I missed any questions. Y'all smash that thumbs up, and we definitely appreciate it. But glad you could be on, sir.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate y'all all. Y'all have a great night. And if you need anything or comments or questions afterwards, please leave them. Maybe KS will chime in there. He's welcome to anytime and answer any questions you have for him. But we appreciate it. Y'all all have a great night. Carry on, everyone.
Yeah, be safe.
Take care.